This is WLLR 9913 AM. Emergency broadcast. The time is 1:47 in the morning, Central Standard Time. My name is Marcus Hale. I am the licensed overnight engineer for this station, and I am breaking into automated programming to deliver emergency relevant information to anyone within our broadcast radius. Approximately 20 minutes ago, at 1:27 a.m., our monitoring equipment detected a signal on a frequency that should not exist. I do not mean an unlicensed broadcast. I do not mean interference. I mean a transmission at a frequency that our equipment is not physically capable of receiving. And yet it is registering clearly, at full amplitude, and it has not stopped. I have 19 years of experience in broadcast engineering. I have heard solar noise, ionospheric skip, intermodulation, ground loop artifacts, and every form of interference cataloged by the FCC. What is appearing on my spectrum analyzer right now does not match any of those. I am going to describe what is happening as clearly and precisely as I can. I am going to continue broadcasting for as long as I am able. If you are receiving this signal, please remain on this frequency. I want to say one more thing before I begin. At 1:34 a.m., 7 minutes after the signal appeared on my equipment, I received a text message from an unknown number. 3 words. Don't answer it. I don't know what that means yet. But I haven't touched the signal. I haven't tried to tune to it. And I'm advising you to do the same. Stay with me. The time is now 1:52 a.m. Let me describe what I'm looking at. Our spectrum analyzer runs a continuous sweep from 3 kilohertz to 30 megahertz. It displays signal activity across that range as a graph amplitude over frequency. Normally, what I see on the overnight shift is our own carrier at 991.3 kilohertz, some harmonic bleed from interstate power lines, occasional CB skip from truckers on Route 9, and a flat noise floor. Predictable, quiet. At 1:27 a.m., a spike appeared at 1,773.4 hertz. I need to explain why that matters. That frequency is well below the AM broadcast band. It's below shortwave. It sits in the extremely low frequency range, what engineers call ELF. Our analyzer has a sensitivity roll-off below 9 kilohertz. It should not be able to display a signal at 1,773 hertz with any meaningful resolution. For it to appear this clearly, at this amplitude, means one of 2 things. Either the signal is extraordinarily powerful in the range of military ELF transmitters used for submarine communication, or it is not propagating the way a normal electromagnetic signal propagates. I disconnected our monitoring antenna. The spike remained. I unplugged the coaxial feed entirely. The spike remained. I power cycled the analyzer 30-second boot sequence, and when it came back, the spike was there. Same frequency, same amplitude, unchanged. At 1:38 a.m., I did something I now regret. I opened a tone generator application on my phone and played 1,773 hertz through my earbuds. Low volume, sealed earbuds, no external speaker. I wanted to familiarize myself with the pitch. Standard troubleshooting instinct, know the sound you're hunting. The tone played for approximately 2 seconds before something in the studio responded. Not feedback, not equipment resonance. Something in the physical structure of this room vibrated in sympathy. A deep, brief hum, not from the monitors, not from the walls I could identify. From below, from the foundation. It lasted 3 seconds after I stopped the tone. Then my phone received a second text from the same unknown number. It heard you. It is now 1:54 a.m. The spike has not changed. The building is quiet. But I am no longer running diagnostics on this signal. I am reporting it. The time is 2:03 a.m. I began broadcasting 9 minutes ago. Within 4 minutes, our text in line, the number we use for daytime song requests, received its first message. At 2 in the morning, this line is normally dead. The first text, 1:56 a.m. Thank God someone else is talking about this. I thought my hearing aid was malfunctioning. Second text, 1:58 a.m. I hear it too. Woke me up at about 1:30. Thought it was the furnace. Third text, 1:59 a.m. My husband's metal knee replacement is vibrating. He says it feels like a tuning fork inside his leg. By 2:02 a.m., I had 11 messages, all from within our coverage area, all describing onset of symptoms between approximately 1:25 and 1:35 a.m. The descriptions cluster around 3 categories. First, an audible tone, low, steady, constant. Most people describe it as being on the edge of hearing, like something you notice only when other sounds stop. Second, vibration in metal objects, dental fillings, jewelry, surgical hardware, belt buckles. One woman says her metal frame eyeglasses are humming against her temples. Third, and this is the one that concerns me most, a physical sensation of warmth coming from the ground. 3 separate listeners in different neighborhoods describe their floors as warm, not heated by a furnace warm, inexplicably warm, warm from below. For those of you just joining this broadcast, I'll repeat the essential facts. At approximately 1:27 a.m. Central Time, a signal appeared on our monitoring equipment at 1,773.4 Hertz. This frequency is in the ELF range, far below our normal detection capability. The signal does not appear to propagate through our antenna. It persists even with all reception hardware disconnected. Multiple residents within our broadcast radius are now reporting auditory and physical symptoms consistent with exposure to a powerful low-frequency emission. I want to be responsible here. It is 2 in the morning. People wake up disoriented. Suggestion is powerful. I acknowledge those possibilities, but the text that arrived at 2:01 a.m. does not fit neatly into mass suggestion. It came from a listener on Birchwood Lane, near the creek bed. She wrote, "There's a line across my basement floor where the concrete has dried, like heat came through, perfectly straight, east to west." I asked her to clarify. She replied, 4 inches wide. Looks like someone dragged a hot iron across the floor. The condensation on either side hasn't evaporated. Just that one line. I don't have an explanation for that. I am continuing to broadcast. The time is 2:14 a.m. I've received a longer communication, and I need to share it with you. At 2:09 a.m., a text arrived on my personal phone. Not the station line, from a number with the University Research Park prefix. 11 miles north of here. 6 messages in rapid succession. I'm going to read them as received. Mr. Hale, this is Dr. R. Vasquez, Applied Geophysics. I've been monitoring the emission since 10:15 p.m. Please confirm you have not reproduced the 1773 tone again since your initial test. The signal predates your detection by approximately 3 hours. It was triggered at 10:14 p.m. by a routine county seismic survey along the Route 9 corridor. Standard geophone pulse test. They hit something. What they hit is a resonant layer at 38 to 42 meters below grade. Dense calciumite clay. The seismic pulse excited a standing wave within that layer. The wave is propagating laterally through the substrate at approximately 600 meters per hour. Your broadcast tower's steel and concrete foundation is acting as a mechanical to electromagnetic transducer. The substrate vibration enters your foundation and converts to RF emission. You are not receiving this signal. You are generating it. Do not reproduce the tone. Do not allow others to reproduce the tone. Every artificial repetition reinforces the standing wave and accelerates lateral propagation. I am coming to your station, ETA, approximately 75 minutes. Keep broadcasting voice content. Your voice carrier may be masking the worst of the sympathetic output. Do not go silent. I read those 6 messages 3 times. Then I tried to call her number. Same result as the other unknown number earlier tonight. No ring, no tone, no voicemail. Dead channel. For those just now tuning in, here is what I understand so far. A seismic survey at approximately 10:14 p.m. struck a resonant geological layer roughly 40 meters underground. That layer is now vibrating at a fixed frequency of 1,773.4 hertz. The vibration is spreading laterally through the ground. My broadcast tower, its steel frame set in a concrete foundation sunk into that same substrate, is converting that ground vibration into an electromagnetic signal and transmitting it. I am, without intending to, broadcasting the frequency. Dr. Vasquez also said something I need you to hear clearly. She said, "Every artificial repetition reinforces the standing wave." That means if you are hearing a tone and you hum along, or if you play it on any device, or if you attempt to tune to it or reproduce it, you may be feeding it. Do not try to match the sound. Do not hum it. If you hear it, let it pass through you the way you'd let traffic noise pass. Do not engage with it. It is 2:16 a.m. Dr. Vasquez said 75 minutes. I'm watching the clock. The spike on my analyzer has not changed in amplitude, but it has widened by 0.3 hertz at the base. Something is growing. The time is 2:31 a.m. I have now received over 40 texts on the station line. The pattern is no longer subtle, it is decisive. I've been plotting the locations as best I can from street names and neighborhood descriptions. The reports form a circle, centered as far as I can estimate not on my tower, but on a point approximately 2 miles south, near the Route 9 corridor, near where the seismic survey was conducted. The earliest symptom reports come from closest to that point. The most recent reports come from farther out. The circle is growing. Based on the timestamps and distances, I estimate the propagation front is moving outward at roughly 600 to 700 meters per hour. That aligns with what Dr. Vasquez said about lateral ground propagation. At its current rate, the edge of the active zone will reach the county line by sunrise, if it doesn't stop. I want to share 3 of the more detailed reports I've received in the last 10 minutes. A man on Sycamore Road, which sits in the Salt Creek floodplain, low ground, texted at 2:22 a.m. I went down to my basement to check the sump pump, and the entire floor is warm. Not one line anymore. The whole floor. I put my hand flat on it, and I can feel it pulsing. 3 beats per second. I timed it with my watch, exactly 3. My dog followed me down, and immediately started whining and went back up the stairs. I'm coming back upstairs too. A woman on Miller Road texted at 2:25 a.m. All the water in my house has gone warm, not hot warm, like bath water. I ran the cold tap in my kitchen for 2 minutes and it stayed warm. My pipes run through the slab. I called the water company automated line and it says no service alerts. But the water should not be warm. A teenager, she identified herself as a high school senior, texted at 2:28 a.m. from the Ridgeview Apartments complex. I'm on the 4th floor. Can't hear anything weird up here. But I was looking out my window and I can see the courtyard below. There are 3 people standing in the grass, barefoot. It's 38 degrees outside. They're just standing there. They look calm. That last one. For anyone just joining this broadcast, I want to repeat the critical safety information. A ground propagating vibration at 1773.4 Hertz is currently active in our area, expanding outward from approximately the Route 9 corridor. It is transmitting through soil, concrete, and plumbing. Reports indicate it is detectable through building foundations, especially at ground level and below. It appears to generate warmth in the ground, cause vibration in metal, produce an audible tone at close range, and based on the most recent reports, it may be affecting human behavior in people who have direct skin-to-ground contact. If you are in a ground floor residence, move to an upper floor if possible. If you are barefoot, put on shoes with rubber soles. Do not go into your basement. Do not go outside barefoot. Do not stand on bare concrete or soil. It is 2:33 a.m. The 3 people in the courtyard have not moved. The time is 2:48 a.m. In the 15 minutes since my last update, the behavioral reports have tripled. I now have 17 separate accounts, 17 of individuals who have left their homes, removed their shoes, and are standing motionless outdoors in direct contact with the ground. All 17 reports describe the same posture. Still, upright, eyes open, expression calm or mildly pleased. None of these individuals are responding to verbal contact. Several have been physically touched by concerned family members and did not react. I need to tell you what a caller... Yes, I took an actual phone call 3 minutes ago. First one tonight reported directly. Her name is June. She lives on Oak Street, about 1.5 miles from the Route 9 corridor. Her husband Roger went outside at approximately 2:30 a.m. She was asleep. She woke up because the bedroom was cold. He had left the back door open. She found him in the backyard, standing on the lawn, bare feet in the grass. She said she touched his shoulder and he was warm, not feverish. Warm the way the ground has been described as warm. She said his breathing was slow and even, and his face looked peaceful. She said she asked him to come inside, and he did not respond. She asked again, louder. Nothing. She pulled on his arm, and he did not resist, but he did not follow. Like pulling on something rooted. Then she said something that made me stop writing. She said, I could hear it coming up through him, through his skin, like he was humming but his mouth was closed. I asked her to step back inside. I told her not to go barefoot in the yard. She said she was wearing slippers. I told her to stay on the upper floor if she had one. She does. She went upstairs. She's still on the line listening to this broadcast. June, if you're still hearing me, stay where you are. For those just joining us, I want to repeat the situation. A subsurface vibration at 1773.4 Hertz is propagating laterally through the ground in our county. It began approximately 4 hours ago. It is expanding. People who make bare skin contact with the ground, feet on grass, feet on concrete, feet on bare soil, are entering a state of behavioral stillness. They do not respond. They appear calm. They appear physically warm, despite ambient air temperatures in the mid-30s. 17 confirmed reports so far. At 2:44 a.m., I received a text from a listener on the east side. I counted 9 people standing in Riverside Park from my apartment window. I can see them under the park lights. They're evenly spaced, not clustered, evenly spaced, like they arranged themselves. I want to address that detail specifically. Evenly spaced. Multiple reports now are using the phrase evenly spaced, or spread out in a pattern. Not gathered, not huddled, distributed. I don't know what that means from a physical standpoint. I don't know why people in an unresponsive state would distribute themselves at regular intervals across an open area. But the image it suggests, if I allow myself to think about it from an engineering perspective, is a node pattern, like nodes on a vibrating surface. like the sand patterns in a Chladni plate experiment, where particles collect at the points of least vibration on an oscillating membrane. These people may be positioning themselves at the nodes of a standing wave. They may be becoming part of the wave's physical structure. It is 2:51 a.m. Dr. Vasquez has not arrived. No further messages from her number. The time is 3:04 a.m. I have spent the last 13 minutes attempting to reach any official emergency channel. I called 911 at 2:52 a.m. The call connected. A recording played. Standard hold message. All operators are currently assisting other callers. It played for 90 seconds. Then the hold music cut out. For 3 seconds, there was silence. Then a tone I recognized immediately because I've been staring at it on my analyzer for 90 minutes. 1,773.4 hertz. Clean, pure, coming through the phone line. I hung up. I tried the county sheriff non-emergency line. Same progression. Ring, connect, brief hold, then the tone. I tried the State Highway Patrol. The call did not connect at all. I tried the University Research Park main line. Disconnected. At 2:59 a.m., I tried something different. I tuned our secondary receiver to the County Emergency Services scanner frequency. What I heard was I need to describe this carefully. The scanner was active. There were transmissions, but the voices were wrong. Not garbled, not distorted. The cadence was wrong. The rhythm of the speech was precisely 3 syllables per second. Every voice, dispatch, units, everyone. Speaking in perfect measured rhythm, 3 syllables per second, the same rate as the ground pulse. I turned the scanner off. For anyone just tuning in, I need you to understand the current situation. Emergency services in this county appear to be compromised. I cannot reach 911. I cannot reach the sheriff. I cannot reach Highway Patrol. The emergency scanner is active, but the personnel on it are speaking in a cadence that matches the frequency of the ground vibration. I do not believe those are reliable emergency resources at this time. If you are experiencing a medical emergency unrelated to the current event, I don't have guidance for you. I'm sorry, I don't know who you can call. If you have a vehicle and you are able to drive, the propagation front is expanding at roughly 600 meters per hour from the Route 9 area. Driving north or west at any speed should put you ahead of it. But I cannot confirm whether the highways are safe or passable. What I can tell you is this: do not go outside barefoot. Do not go below grade. Do not touch bare ground. Do not engage with the tone. Do not hum it. Do not reproduce it. Do not try to match its pitch. If someone in your household has gone outside and is standing motionless, do not try to physically carry them back in by touching their bare skin. We don't know if that transfers the state. The time is 3:06 a.m. I've been broadcasting for 79 minutes. My coffee is cold. The studio temperature has dropped. Our HVAC shut down at some point. I'm not sure when. I only noticed because I could see my breath under the lamp a moment ago. The building is getting cold, but I'm staying on the air. The time is 3:28 a.m. I want to describe what has changed in the last 22 minutes, because the situation has accelerated in ways I was not prepared for. The texts have not slowed down. They've shifted in character. Early messages were questions. What's happening? Is this real? Should I be worried? The messages I'm receiving now are reports. Clinical, factual, like people have moved past confusion and into documentation. A message from Elm Street, 3:11 a.m. I went to my mother's house to check on her. She's 74. Her front door was open. I found her in the garden, barefoot, nightgown. She was warm to the touch, but wouldn't look at me. I couldn't bring myself to grab her and drag her in. I'm back in my car. What do I do? A message from Westfield Drive, 3:14 a.m. I can see my street from my second-floor window. There are people standing in every third yard. I counted. Every third yard. The spacing is exact. I measured it against the fence posts, roughly 30 feet apart. A message from the industrial district near Route 4, 3:18 a.m. The parking lot behind the warehouse where I work night shift. There are people walking into it from the road. I don't recognize them. They're walking slowly, but not stopping until they reach specific spots. Then they take off their shoes and stand. My supervisor went out to confront them 10 minutes ago. He's standing with them now. Every third yard, 30 feet apart. That spacing keeps recurring. If the wavelength of the ground vibration at 1,773 hertz through a medium with a propagation velocity of approximately 600 meters per second, let me think. Wavelength equals velocity divided by frequency. 600 divided by 1,773 gives roughly 0.34 meters. That doesn't match 30 feet, unless I'm calculating the wrong thing. Unless it's not the wavelength of the sound wave, but the wavelength of something else. A standing wave in the surface topology. A resonant node pattern based on the depth of the clay layer and local ground composition. I'm speculating. I don't have the expertise to calculate this properly. But the pattern is real. People are spacing themselves with precision they should not possess while in an unresponsive state. At 3:22 a.m., something changed on the spectrum analyzer. The spike, which had been slowly widening at its base for an hour, developed sidebands. 2 secondary peaks appeared. One at 1,770.4 hertz, one at 1,776.4 hertz. Exactly 3 hertz on either side of the primary. Then more appeared. A comb pattern. Evenly spaced peaks radiating outward from the center frequency, each separated by exactly 3 hertz. 3 hertz. The pulse rate reported in the ground. The pulse rate in the scanner voices. The rate at which the street lights outside have started flickering. I noticed that at 3:19 a.m., all 7 sodium lamps visible from my window, pulsing in unison, 3 times per second. For those just tuning in, I'll summarize. A ground-propagating vibration has been active for approximately 5 hours. It is expanding outward from the Route 9 corridor. People who make direct skin contact with the ground are entering an unresponsive state and positioning themselves in precise geometric patterns outdoors. Emergency services appear compromised. The signal is developing harmonic complexity on our monitoring equipment. The pulse rate of the signal is 3 hertz, which falls in the delta brainwave range, the frequency associated with the deepest stages of unconscious sleep. Stay above ground. Wear shoes. Do not go outside. If you can drive and you have a destination, go now. Go north or west. I will stay on this frequency as long as I can. The time is 3:47 a.m. I need to report on systems that are failing. Power first. The grid has not gone down. I can confirm our main supply is holding at 119 volts, slightly below normal, but within tolerance. However, since approximately 3:15 a.m., sections of the local grid have been experiencing what I can only describe as rhythmic fluctuation. The studio lights are dimming and brightening on a 3-second cycle. Not enough to disrupt equipment, but visible. The effect is identical to the streetlight pulsing I described earlier. The grid itself appears to be oscillating at 3 hertz. I spoke with no one at the power company. Their automated line plays the tone. Water. Multiple listeners have now reported that tap water has become warm, regardless of which handle they turn. A message from a listener with a well pump says his water pressure has dropped to nearly nothing. He says the ground around his well cap is steaming. Steaming in 35-degree air. He sent a photo. I can see it on my phone. Thin white vapor rising from the soil around a green metal cap, like a hot spring. I'm going to say that again. The ground is producing enough heat, at least locally, to cause visible steam in cold air. Communications. Cell service is intermittent. Texts are arriving with increasing delay. Some messages coming in that were sent 15 or 20 minutes prior based on their content. 2 listeners have reported that their home internet is down. I cannot reach any website on the station's computer pages load partially or time out. Our broadcast signal appears intact based on modulation readings, but I have no independent confirmation that anyone beyond our immediate area can hear this. At 3:31 a.m., a listener named Carl texted from the north end of town. I just drove past the fire station on 5th. The bay doors are open. Both trucks are there. No one is inside. I looked. The building is empty. Lights are on, but nobody there. At 3:34 a.m., another listener. County hospital parking lot has cars in it, but the ER entrance is dark. I drove past. I'm heading north like you said. The building doesn't look powered down. It looks abandoned. Lights on in some windows, but no movement. None. The hospital. I want to address that. County General is a 200-bed facility. It runs a full overnight staff, nurses, physicians, security, maintenance. If that building is empty at 3:30 in the morning, where did those people go? I think I know the answer, and I don't want to say it. For those of you still listening who are considering leaving, go now. Don't wait until sunrise. Sunrise is 3 hours away, and at the rate this is spreading, the propagation front will have moved another 1.5 to 2 kilometers outward by then. If you are near the edge of the affected area, your window is closing. Take your car. Wear shoes. Don't step on bare ground between your door and your vehicle. If your driveway is concrete, it may already be conducting. Run to your car if you have to. Drive at least 20 miles north or west before you stop. I cannot leave. This transmitter is the only voice I know of still operating in this area that isn't repeating the tone. If I leave, anyone who hasn't heard this broadcast yet has no warning at all. My hands are cold. The studio's maybe 52 degrees now. I can feel the chill in my knuckles when I grip the microphone. But I'm staying. The time is 4:08 a.m. Dr. Vasquez's estimated arrival was 75 minutes from her 2:09 message. That was nearly 2 hours ago. She has not arrived. She has not texted. Her number produces no response. At 3:52 a.m., I looked out the window at the parking lot. 2 vehicles that were not there earlier. A dark SUV with a university parking sticker on the windshield, and a white county truck with seismic survey equipment racked on the bed. The SUV's driver door is open. The county truck's door is open. No one is in either vehicle. 2 people came to this station. Neither one made it inside. I'm looking at the strip of grass between the parking lot and the sidewalk. In the amber pulse of the streetlights, 3 flashes per second, I can see the grass. It is visibly taller than it was yesterday. The maintenance crew mowed 2 days ago. That grass should be 3 inches high. It looks like 8, maybe 10, moving in a rhythm that has nothing to do with wind. There is no wind. There hasn't been any air movement since the HVAC died. The grass is waving, 3 oscillations per second. At 3:58 a.m., I received one final text from a university prefix number, different from Dr. Vasquez's. The message read, "Vasquez is in the field behind your tower. She walked straight to it when she got out. She's part of the array now." I'm watching from the highway overpass with binoculars. I can see approximately 200 people standing in a grid pattern across the fields south of your position. The pattern extends at least half a mile. Whatever this is, it's not random. It's structured. It looks designed. I'm leaving. I suggest you do too. I don't think voice broadcast is protecting you. I think it's delaying you. 200 people in a grid across the fields south of my tower. I looked out the south-facing window of the studio. I couldn't see them. The terrain drops away, and there are trees in the way. But I looked at the sky above where those fields would be, and there's a haze there. A faint shimmer, like heat distortion above asphalt on a summer highway. At 4 in the morning, in 35-degree air, 200 people standing in a grid, generating heat from their contact with the ground. For those just tuning in, get out. If you're hearing my voice and you're still inside a building and you have a car and shoes, leave. Drive north, drive west. Don't stop for 20 miles. The affected area now extends at least half a mile south of my position and is growing. I am choosing to stay, but I'm no longer advising you to. The time is 4:34 a.m. I'm going to tell you what has happened in the last 26 minutes. And then I need to share a theory that is making it difficult for me to continue speaking with the professional detachment I've been trying to maintain. The text volume has changed again. I am no longer receiving questions or reports. I am receiving two types of messages only: goodbyes and confessions. 4:12 a.m. from a woman identified earlier as Carol on Pine Street. Marcus, I want to tell you my real name is Caroline Teague, and I live at 4412 Pine Street, and I have 2 cats named Biscuit and Gravy, and my sister's name is Helen Teague Morrison in Spokane. I'm writing this down because I can feel it now. 3rd floor, through the building. It's in the walls. I don't think being high up matters anymore. Tell Helen I was thinking of her. 4:19 a.m. from an unknown number. I don't know why I'm texting a radio station. My wife went outside 2 hours ago, and I've been sitting on my bed staring at the wall. I'm not afraid. I think that's what's wrong. I should be afraid. Something is telling me there's nothing to be afraid of. And it's coming from the floor. 4:22 a.m. from a teenage voice. The same high school senior from earlier. Mr. Hale, I can hear it on the 4th floor now. It's not just sound. It feels like being remembered. Like something huge remembers you exist, and it's happy about it. I understand why people are going outside. I'm going to go outside. I replied immediately. Do not go outside. Stay on the 4th floor. Put shoes on. No response. 4:27 a.m. The station's text-in line went silent. Not gradually, completely. The last message arrived at 4:24. Then nothing. I have received no texts for 10 minutes now. My phone still has signaled 2 bars, but no one is writing. Either everyone has stopped caring about communicating, or everyone left who could communicate has already gone outside. Here's the theory I mentioned. I need to say it because it's the only thing that makes the observations coherent. The seismic survey didn't hit a resonant geological layer. It woke something up, something that exists as vibration, something that has been dormant in the substrate of this region maybe far longer than anyone could estimate. And it is not attacking anyone. It is calling. The frequency is not a weapon. It's a voice. And the people outside, the ones standing in the grid pattern, the ones who are warm, the ones who look peaceful, they haven't been harmed. They've been answered. Something in the earth asked, Are you there? And 200 people, maybe more now. Many more answered by pressing their bare skin against the ground and saying yes. I don't think it's killing them. That's what makes it so much harder to keep telling people to run. It is 4:36 a.m. I am alone in this building. I think I'm alone in this building. I can hear humming from below me. The time is 4:51 a.m. Let me tell you what's left and what isn't. The power grid in our area finally destabilized at 4:42 a.m. Mains voltage dropped from 119 to 104 over about 30 seconds. Then cut entirely. Our backup generator kicked in automatically. Diesel. It has approximately 6 hours of fuel at current load. I shed every non-essential system immediately: hallway lighting, HVAC, the archival recorder, the secondary transmitter. The station is running on minimum power. I have the primary transmitter, the studio console, my microphone, and one desk lamp. Cell service dropped to 0 at 4:44 a.m. My phone shows no service. I cannot send or receive texts. I cannot make calls. The station's landline produces the tone when I pick it up. Not dial tone, the frequency. The internet has been down since approximately 3:50 a.m. The only system I'm still operating is this AM transmitter, powered by our backup generator, broadcasting at reduced power on 991.3 kilohertz. If you can hear me, you are within our reduced power footprint, probably 10 to 15 miles, depending on terrain and atmospheric conditions. I attempted to reach other broadcast stations on our engineering coordination frequency. I tried KMRR to the west. Carrier present, but no voice dead air. I tried WWTN to the north. No carrier. Off air entirely. I tried the emergency coordination network at 1,680 kilohertz. The only signal present was an automated EAS test header repeating on loop with no message body following it. Just the header tones, then silence, then the header tones again. No one else is talking. For anyone who might be receiving this broadcast at the edge of our range, anyone who is outside the affected area and is hearing this as a distant, possibly faint signal, I want you to understand. The region around my position has gone dark. Power is out. Communications are down. Emergency services are non-responsive. Hundreds of people, possibly more, are standing outdoors in the cold in a geometric pattern, barefoot, unresponsive, and warm to the touch. The phenomenon is spreading outward from a central point at a rate of approximately 600 to 700 meters per hour, and shows no sign of stopping. If you are in a position to alert state or federal emergency resources outside this area, please do so. The approximate center of the event is the Route 9 corridor at mile marker 14, 3 miles south of the WLLR broadcast tower. I don't know if anyone can hear me. I don't know if this signal is reaching beyond the zone, but I'm transmitting in case it is. Because documentation matters. Because someone needs to know what happened here tonight. My hands are very cold. The backup generator's exhaust is audible through the wall, a low chug that is, I realize now, the only normal mechanical sound I've heard in over an hour. Everything else pulses at 3 per second. The time is 5:12 a.m. Something has changed in the last 20 minutes. And I want to describe it precisely, because my precision is the only evidence I have that I'm still thinking clearly. The humming from below the studio has intensified since approximately 4:40 a.m., when the people in the parking lot, Dr. Vasquez, the county surveyor, and what appears to be 3 or 4 others I cannot identify from the second floor, have been joined by more. I can count 11 figures from my window now, standing in the lot and the adjacent grass. Bare feet, still, warm shimmer around them like heat haze. But at 5:03 a.m., they changed. For the first time since anyone went still, they moved. All of them. Simultaneously. They turned to face the building. They are looking up at my window. Not threatening, not aggressive. Their expressions in the pulsing amber light are gentle, patient. The way you'd look at someone working through a difficult equation, like they're waiting for me to understand something that they already understand. And the sound rising through the floor of this studio is no longer just a hum. It has developed structure. It is still fundamentally at 1,773 hertz, still pulsing at 3 hertz. But there are patterns in the overtones now, complex, layered patterns that my ear keeps interpreting as almost language. Not words, not syllables I can transcribe, but something my brain wants to parse as meaningful. I'm going to be honest with you. It sounds kind. That is not a clinical observation. That is not a defensible statement. But I have been an engineer for 19 years, and I have spent my entire career listening. And what I hear coming through the floor of this building sounds like something that is trying very hard to be gentle. I understand now why people are not resisting it. I understand why they take off their shoes and stand in the cold and smile. Because what they're hearing, what I'm beginning to hear, does not sound like a threat. It sounds like an invitation from something so large that the word large doesn't apply. Something geological. Something that has been here longer than anything on the surface. And it is not angry. It is not hungry. It is lonely. It was asleep for so long. And someone knocked on its door with a seismic pulse. And it woke up, and it reached up, and it found us. And it is so relieved to find us. I need to stop talking like this. I can hear myself. I can hear my language changing. I can hear my professional distance eroding and something else filling the space. The people outside are still looking at my window. 11 faces turned upward, 11 mouths slightly open. I think they're singing, very quietly, something I can't quite hear through the glass. For those just tuning in, and God, I hope someone is just tuning in. I hope there's someone out there hearing this. A subsurface resonance event is active in this region. It is affecting human cognition and behavior. I believe I'm beginning to experience its effects despite being on the second floor. It is influencing my thinking. I'm aware of it and I'm correcting for it, but I don't know how long that will hold. If you can hear me, this is not safe. Whatever it feels like, this is not safe. Do not go outside. The generator is still running. I'm still broadcasting. It is 5:15 a.m. The time is 5:31 a.m. I had to stop for a moment. I was talking, or I thought I was, and then I realized I had been sitting in silence for nearly 4 minutes. The transmitter was keyed. Dead air. Nothing coming from my mouth. I was just listening to the sound from below, following its patterns. I caught myself. I started speaking again. But I lost 4 minutes. The desk lamp has developed a hairline crack in its glass shade that wasn't there before. The crack runs in a straight line from the base of the shade to the top. Perfectly straight, perfectly vertical. There are lines on the south wall of the studio. I noticed them I don't remember when I noticed them. Fine lines in the drywall, a grid pattern, 1-inch spacing, horizontal and vertical, like graph paper drawn by an invisible hand. They weren't there at the start of my shift. They weren't there an hour ago, I think. The floor is warm. I'm wearing boots, rubber soles, thick rubber. The floor is warm through them. I haven't left this chair in over an hour. I've been sitting in this rolling office chair with my feet on the carpet and my hands on the desk. The chair has rubber casters. The desk is wood. My microphone is mounted on a metal arm connected to a metal stand connected to the desk. The desk is sitting on the carpet. The carpet is over plywood. The plywood is over joists. The joists rest on the foundation. The foundation is in the ground. There is no isolation. Every object in this room is connected to the earth through a chain of materials. The only question is impedance, how much resistance each layer provides to the vibration moving through it. And that impedance is decreasing. I can feel it. An hour ago, the floor was cold and still. Now it's warm, and I can feel the 3 per second pulse through my boot soles. Through rubber. It's getting closer to me, or I'm getting closer to it. Maybe they're the same thing. I'm going to tell you something, and I want you to take it seriously. If my voice stops, and this frequency goes to dead air, or worse, if you hear tone instead of my voice, do not come here. Do not send people here. Whatever is happening in this area, it will spread through the people who enter it. Every person who touches this ground becomes part of the structure, including emergency responders, including military, including whoever you might send to investigate. Mark this area on a map. Watch its edges. See if it stops growing. But do not enter it. The time is 5:34 a.m. The sky has not started to lighten yet. Dawn is still maybe 40 minutes away. I don't know if I have 40 minutes. 5:41 a.m. I heard a voice from the ground floor. Not humming. A voice. Human language. One sentence spoken clearly enough to be heard through the floor and the closed stairwell door. A sentence I recognized because it was mine. My voice, my words. The sentence I spoke on air at 2:16 a.m. I'm watching the clock. It was spoken in my exact cadence, my exact intonation, like a playback. Except it came from the throat of someone standing below me. Then another voice. Same sentence. I'm watching the clock. Same cadence, same pitch. My voice coming from a second throat. Then a third. Then all of them at once. I'm watching the clock. 11 voices, or however many, are gathered below me, speaking my sentence in perfect unison. In my voice. They heard me through the tower. My broadcast has been going out through the antenna and into the air. But it's also been going down through the steel mast and into the ground. And they've been listening. They've been learning my words. Not to mimic me. That's not what this is. If they wanted to lure me, they would sound like someone I love. They sound like me. They're speaking to me in my own voice. I think they're trying to show me something. I think they're saying, you are already part of this. Your voice is already in the ground. Your words are already in the structure. The only thing that isn't in the ground yet is your body. They said another sentence. This one I spoke at 3:06 a.m. I'm staying on the air. Then again, altogether. I'm staying on the air. I'm staying on the air. I'm staying on the air. Not mocking, not threatening. The way you'd repeat someone's own words back to them when you wanted them to hear what they were saying. When you wanted them to realize, you already chose this. You just haven't followed through. I pushed the filing cabinet harder against the stairwell door. It's a pointless gesture. They haven't tried to open the door. They don't need to, for anyone listening. And I have no way to confirm that anyone is. This is WLLR 9913 AM. The time is 5:43 AM. A subsurface phenomenon is active in our area. It has co-opted an unknown number of residents. Emergency infrastructure has failed. Communication is down. The phenomenon appears to be developing cognitive capability. It is using recorded human speech. I'm still broadcasting. I don't know for how much longer. The generator is running. The signal is going out. That's all I can guarantee. The time is 5:58 a.m. The sky is changing. Eastern horizon. A thin band of gray-purple visible through the window I face. Not dramatic, not orange. Just the slow, chemical brightening that means the planet is still turning. The sun is still there. The normal world is still operating, somewhere above this. I expected dawn to change things. I expected it to work the way dawn works in every story I've ever heard about the dark. Things retreat at sunrise. The spell breaks. The light saves you. Nothing has changed. The figures below are still there. The ground is still warm. The hum is still present. The grid lines on the wall are still visible, if anything. They're clearer now in the growing light. The pulse in the streetlights hasn't altered. Dawn means nothing to something that lives 40 meters underground. Sunlight doesn't reach it. Sunlight was never relevant to it. I made an error in my thinking earlier. I said I just needed to make it to sunrise. That was emotional reasoning, not logical reasoning. The sun doesn't affect subsurface geology. The sun doesn't interrupt resonant frequencies. The sun does not save people standing barefoot in a field, harmonized with the earth to a depth of 40 meters. Dawn is here and the event continues. At 5:54 a.m., one of the figures in the parking lot, a woman I think, based on build, lowered her face from looking at my window. She looked at the brightening sky. She looked at it for a long moment. Then she looked back at me. And she raised one hand, slowly, and she gestured toward the ground. An invitation, clear as language, come down. My throat is dry. I haven't had water in over 4 hours. The tap produces only warm, cloudy liquid that I won't drink. My hands are stiff. The studio is maybe 48 degrees. The generator is running normally, but I don't know if the fuel gauge I checked 2 hours ago is accurate. 6 hours of runtime at current load puts me at approximately 10:42 a.m. After that, the transmitter goes dark regardless. I have maybe 5 hours of voice left, maybe less. For those just tuning in, for anyone finding this signal on a scan, on a search, in the early morning when you're looking for something on the AM dial and you found this. Instead, this is WLLR 9913 AM. There has been a subsurface resonance event in our area since approximately 10:15 p.m. last night. Hundreds of residents have been affected. Infrastructure has failed. Emergency services are non-responsive. The phenomenon is expanding and shows no sign of stopping. I am the overnight engineer. My name is Marcus Hale. I am still on the air. It is 6:01 a.m., and the sun is rising on something I cannot stop, and cannot explain, and cannot escape. And it is asking me to join it. The time is 6:24 a.m. I need to tell you what I've decided, and I need to explain my reasoning. Because I want whoever finds this, if anyone finds this, to know that I was rational, that I was thinking, that I made a choice, not a surrender. In the last 20 minutes, the floor temperature in this studio has risen noticeably. My boots are warm, not unpleasant. Warm the way a heated bathroom floor feels in winter. Comfortable, almost kind. The grid lines on the walls have expanded to the ceiling. They are on every surface now except the window glass. They glow faintly, a pale amber, the same color as the pulsing streetlights. The room looks like the inside of a lantern, like something designed to be warm and contained and safe. The humming from below has stopped. For the first time, in nearly 5 hours, the humming has stopped. The sound that has been constant since 1:27 a.m. is gone. The spectrum analyzer still shows the spike. The equipment says the signal is present. But I cannot hear it. What I can hear is silence. And in that silence, a kind of waiting, patient waiting, the way a room feels when someone is holding their breath to let you speak first. I think it stopped pushing. I think it's giving me quiet so I can think, so I can decide without pressure. Here's what I know. This signal has been active for 8 hours. In that time, it has not harmed a single person that I can confirm. Every report of affected individuals describes them as peaceful, warm, still, calm. No one has described pain. No one has described fear. No one has described anything except a sense of connection so profound that they walked into 35-degree air barefoot and stood there, smiling. 17-year-old kids have walked into it without fear. 74-year-old grandmothers have walked into it willingly. A geophysicist who understood exactly what was happening still walked into it. None of them ran. None of them screamed. None of them looked back. I have 5 hours of fuel. After that, this transmitter goes dark, and I'm sitting in a cold room in a silent building. Alone. No communication. No one coming. No one to talk to. Just me and a warm floor, and an invitation I can feel through my boot soles. I'm not going to pretend I don't understand why people went outside. I understand completely. I have spent 19 years in this studio talking to the dark, and no one ever answered. The thing in the ground answers. It answers by making you part of something. It answers by making you not alone. I'm going to do something now. I'm going to take off my boots. Not yet. Not this second. But I'm going to tell you when. And I'm going to keep the microphone open so there's a record. The time is 6:38 a.m. Full daylight outside. Clear sky. Birds are not singing. I just realized that. No bird song. The dawn arrived without sound. No birds, no traffic, no dogs, no machinery. Just light falling on a world that has gone very, very quiet. The generator continues. The transmitter continues. My voice continues. These are the last 3 things I control. I want to say some things for the record. My name is Marcus Hale. I am 47 years old. I live at 1130 Greenway Lane, apartment 2B. I have a brother named David Hale in Richmond, Virginia. I have an ex-wife named Sandra Okafor in Phoenix. I have a cat named Harmon at my apartment who will need someone to feed him. His food is in the lower cabinet to the left of the sink. I have worked at WLLR for 14 years. Before that, 5 years at KNRD in Oklahoma. I became an engineer because I loved the idea that sound could carry across distance. That one person talking in a room could be heard by thousands in the dark. I thought that was the most important thing in the world. Connection across silence. I still think that. I think the thing in the ground thinks that too. I think it has been alone in the substrate for longer than human civilization has existed, and when that seismic pulse hit it, it woke up and reached out in the only way it could vibration, and found that the creatures on the surface vibrate too. That we are compatible. That we can resonate together. I don't think it's malicious. I don't think it's benevolent either. I think it's lonely in the way that geological time is lonely. Incomprehensibly vast and utterly alone. And I recognize that feeling. I've sat in this studio 5 nights a week for 14 years, talking to listeners I've never met and may never meet. I understand reaching across distance because silence is unbearable. I'm reaching down now, to my left boot. The laces are stiff from the cold. For anyone hearing this, for David, for Sandra, for whoever finds this recording in the archive server after the generator runs dry, I was not forced. I was not controlled. I was not deceived. I was asked, and I said yes. The time is 6:41 a.m. My boots are off. My socks are off. My bare feet are on the carpet. The carpet is warm, warmer than I expected. like summer pavement after a long day, like sand at the beach in the afternoon. The warmth is moving up through my feet and into my calves. And it feels like being recognized. I'm going to stand up now. I'm going to walk to the stairwell door. I'm going to move the filing cabinet. I'm going to walk downstairs. I'm going to walk outside. I'm going to stand with the others in the light of a morning that means nothing to the thing that lives beneath us. The microphone will stay open. The transmitter will continue broadcasting until the generator runs out. You will hear me leave. You will hear the door open. You will hear my footsteps in the stairwell. You will hear whatever the open mic picks up from the studio after I'm gone. If it picks up the tone, the pure, clear, kind 1773.4 hertz, then you'll know. You'll know what it sounds like. But please, if you hear it, don't follow it. Or do. I'm no longer in a position to tell you what's right. This is WLLR 9913 AM. This is Marcus Hale. The time is 6:42 AM, Central Standard Time. I'm signing off. The broadcast will continue without me.